Hello, Timo.
Hi, I love the intro.
Oh, it's good, isn't it? That's my lovely Idris. I do have to warn you, you look like there's a big cat behind you that might be about to eat you.
Yeah, that's good.
It
I
looks
like it a
well
lot.
fed, though. It looks well fed because obviously that cat's been using our recipes in our raw and cooked cat food course. So today, it's the 7th of September. I can't believe it already. Before we get stuck into this really exciting topic, how are you doing at the moment?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. Just a bit of a system change with computers and everything, but I'll manage it.
Yes, the computers. Don't talk to me about computers. You know they're not my favourite subject. Although I should say, love you, computer, behave yourself today. So, everyone, please feel free to join us as usual on the chat and ask questions. So, today we are going to be talking about a really, really, really important subject, which is neutering our pets. Some people call it neutering, some people spaying, castration. We're going to get Timo the vet to explain it all to us. But one thing that's really, really clear is this is a subject that for most animal owners is just not discussed enough, is it, Timo?
Yeah, it's like it's like buying yourself shoes or changing clothes or going to supermarket and you bring your pet to the operation. It just becomes something totally natural to do, just removing an important part of the animal's body and just getting rid of it. If it would be just like a packaging, you buy a new pet and it comes in a wrap and you just wrap it off and throw it away. So that's disgusting. So
It is disgusting. We're going to be making everyone cringe today because we're going to be having lots of discussions about balls and bits. So Bob's already noticed. Before we get stuck in, Bob has already noticed the discount code for today for anyone watching this live or on replay is balls10. It's a coupon code which gets you 10% off the courses, and we thought that was an appropriate course. So let's get into the nitty-gritty. What do we mean? What is neutering, spaying, castration? Are they all the same things? What are we actually talking about doing to our male and female animals?
Oh, before we start, hi Andrea. Last time I wanted to say it too, but we started too quickly. So, nurturing is the universal word of removing someone's sexual organs, or let's say sexual reproductive system. And castration is removing the balls. And sterilizing can be actually on both sides, but normally it's used for females. And in the total operation, or let's say medical part, it has total different name, but nobody's interested, so I'm not going to use it. But yes, so nurturing is the best because it covers both. It just includes that you remove the reproductive system. Males you remove the balls, and the ladies you remove the ovaries.
And the
Yeah.
uterus?
You can and you can't. You don't have to. It's yeah. We will talk about it. That's an important part. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, it's really interesting because I'm sure this varies depending on what countries people are watching from. So what happens over, say, for example, in the UK, pet owners, and let's start off by talking about dogs and cats, but this is equally going to apply to guinea pigs, rabbits, and
horses.
we'll part at horses later.
Yeah.
But normally it's almost quite accepted in the general public that when you get a pet, a dog or a cat, that you will get it neutered. And there's a lot of vets suggest doing it even before the first season. So, what is them? I want people to understand, first of all, before we talk about our opinions, and we're both pretty opinionated about this, having had animals for years, what exactly is involved in the operation? Because people, I think, take it very lightly because it's done so routinely without really thinking about what's involved.
Yeah. So first and foremost, no operation which brings you between death and sleep leaves you without a mark. So whenever you or any animal is in deep sleep for the operation, it leaves a mark. It can leave a mark at the heart. it can leave a mark. And psych, it can leave a mark somewhere, but it always leaves a mark, small or big. Sometimes you see it, sometimes you don't, but it leaves a mark. And
Yeah.
to make the operation, you have to deep sleep the animals between normal sleep and death. Yeah, that's exactly in the middle somewhere. And you try to keep it there. So sometimes the operation is easy and it goes quick, but sometimes it doesn't, especially for females. There is more work involved.
Mm.
And you have to open the abdomen and do a lot of things. For males, it's a bit easier. It's a bit less destructive for the body because for the body, the testicles are still external. The scrotum is external, at least. For females, it's a total different story.
Yeah.
So it's a big shock for the body. When they are young, of course, they get over it very quickly. But we still put them in a position that they have to get over with, although lacking the hormones that would help them to get over with. It's a bit of a, for instance, for male, testosterone is something that makes you, how do you say it, more easy to regenerate.
Yeah.
And if you take it away, your regeneration from taking away your balls is slower because the testosterone is gone. Yeah, it's a bit of a, how do you say it, a deep subject where you have to really look really deep to understand what you're doing to your animal. If you don't have to do it, don't do it.
Yeah, and we're going to cover lots of reasons for this because you've raised a really important thing there. No general anaesthetic is without risks. And even though modern technology is wonderful, there are always risks. And not only on what we can see sort of physically, but obviously you're going to be left with scar tissue, which can affect the muscle fascia. You're going to be cutting through energy meridian lines and things like this. So depending whether you're looking just on a purely physical or emotional or spiritual level, you're affecting all of these areas of the animal by doing this drastic action, aren't you?
That is correct. And for females, again, it's even heavier. And a lot of females will have fascia problems, connective tissue problems. And these are just the after effects of the operation, not even a functional thing, let's say. Yeah. It's just, the side effects of being operated and stitched together again.
Yeah.
Of course, there are vets who are doing it for years and years and years. So they can even go blind in, and get out. They are clean workers, but not every vet has the same skill level. And
Yeah, absolutely. Now, one of the things, so most vets, so I'm generalizing here, of course, people will have hopefully quite good relationships with their individual vets. But what we really, really want to encourage people to do is really think about the implications of what they're doing. Now, this is really interesting because Greg's here saying my female was ready to run and play the next day. I didn't let her because of the sutures at all. But this is a common reaction. I think people think, oh, it's all gone smoothly fine and don't think anything more about it. But talk us through some of the hormonal implications, Timo, in terms of what taking away, as you say, not only this physical part of the body, but also the chemical part of the body, how that's going to impact.
Yeah, it has a physical impact. It's a chemical impact, and it has a social, emotional impact. Although it's connected to chemical, let's say, but it's bigger than that, right? So young animals, of course, especially males, when they lose their balls, they feel not much because the balls are not really any part of their daily life yet, right?
Yes.
But for the females, you open the belly and get in and get out. It's a dangerous thing. But they don't feel much, right? This is the small kitten doesn't feel much. Even if you operate babies now, you can remove one of their kidneys, and next day they will feel nothing. It's like one kidney is gone, but you wouldn't say, "Oh, my baby is well,"
Yeah.
One kidney is gone, but he doesn't feel anything. He's just smiling and still playing with his toy. That doesn't mean he's really healthy and happy. It just means he doesn't feel that the trauma is not hitting him because he's too young to get the trauma. Yeah.
Too young for it to expose itself yet, quite often.
That is correct. And the second part is the chemical impact is a long-term impact. It just doesn't happen like this. And at the beginning, when they grow, normally just with the growth factors, you don't feel it much. But once the sexual age comes, then the male tomcats are always stronger than the nurtured ones, because they have testosterone to back up their muscle mass. They're just stronger. You can also see, I mean, in my age, you take a woman in my age, and not important if she's an athlete or not, she can do whatever she wants. I will be always stronger. That's the effect of testosterone. Come on.
No.
Yeah. Doesn't look bad, but not that impressive. So
No, I don't want muscle. No, I'm happy not to be a muscle woman.
let's say
That's an important point, isn't it? Because what you're saying, if I'm getting this right, Timo, is every stage of the development of the animal, this is going to have a knock-on impact.
that is correct, and it's more complicated than just not these hormones are steroid hormones. So if I tell you just steroids, you would think about growth and size and regeneration and the advantages it brings to the body, right? So these are the main steroid hormones in the body. And when you take them away, of course, some of the body parts will still produce some.
Yeah.
But you cannot compare it with the main producer.
Yeah.
And this will have an effect on the coat, on the weight gain, on fat burning capacity, on mating capacity, of course, regeneration speed. It will have huge impact on social behavior. Although some people really love their geldings and castrated cats because they are so, in German we would say kuschelig, so, nice and cuddly and everything, but that's not their nature. Normally, a horse wants to bite your head off, a stallion. If you are too rude, it will bite your head off. And that's the real nature of the horse. And I like it better, although I fight with them to rehabilitate them. I still find it far better and true to nature than the gelding that he says, okay, to everything. Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So important. You've taken those natural instincts away.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I have thought about doing it to my husband on numerous occasions to make him easier to handle. But even with him, I've resisted the temptation. Now, we've got a couple of questions here from Lisa and Sharon, which we're going to come on to those in a minute, Lisa and Sharon, because we've both of you have got kittens, but in different situations. We've got Sharon, who's got a kitten in a private home, which we're going to discuss. And then we've got Lisa, who's got rescue kittens that she's taking care of. Great work, Lisa. So we haven't ignored you. We're coming back to that because we just want to cover a few other important points before we discuss these points. So why do vets recommend it? What are some of the advantages? And there's a huge difference in terms of the timing that they recommend it. So talk us through why a vet would be recommending this to owners.
All right. So the vet recommends because of 3 reasons. One, she thinks it's the right thing. It's normal. That's what we learned in the university. We do that. Second, by the way, in the university, you will hear always that the female dogs, especially dogs, will always get uterus problems anyway. Just remove them as quick as you can. They are useless, no need for them. Just you save your dog, you save the dog by doing that. Then the second reason is the shop has to make money. And the easiest way to make money is nurturing, injecting, vaccines, giving antiparasitoid agents, and selling food. So 4 things. These are the 4 pillars of a vet clinic. So if these are not existing, the vet clinic cannot survive.
Yeah.
And it's a good business. And the third thing is, in some cases, in some places, the cat and dog population is uncontrollable. So like in Greece, in Turkey, in some of the Romania and Bulgaria, and there people genuinely think that I have to make my dog less of a problem for the society. So they take the burden on them. They don't want to do it, but they feel like it has to be done because if not, the dog might go out, rape someone, and then you have more dogs that nobody wants to take care of. Yeah, especially in communities where dog breed is super important, that the breed, it's and they don't like mutts. Then you have babies that nobody wants to look at. And what do you do with them, right? And then they end up on the street. So that's the other reason. But
so we do want to make it very clear here. When we're talking about this in general, at the moment, for most of the conversation, we're going to be talking about pets that are in a home, in a loving home environment, and then we'll come on to talk about the rescue ones, because obviously that's got a very different set of challenges, hasn't it, Timo?
yeah.
Yeah.
Great job, Lisa. So I want to tell
Amazing,
something
Lisa.
about breast cancer for aspiring alchemists.
Yeah.
So, according to the data, 62% of every woman in the Western society, in the Western world, will get breast cancer. So, I suggest we take every girl when they are hit puberty, we just remove the breasts and we put 2 silicones in it and silicone breasts in it, and we're done. If that makes sense, then everything else will make sense too, but that doesn't make sense for me. So I take the risk, I let them live their life fully, and if the time comes, we think about the solution. But I'm not going to think that I will just nurture every animal there is because I think there might be a risk. That doesn't make sense. It's an important part of their life.
So I have a point about this that I have had many a discussion with vets about, so we've got aspiring alchemists on the thing here saying that the vets tell me that they'll get breast cancer if they don't neuter them. Well, you could also say if you cut my arm off, I won't get arm cancer in my left arm because it's gone. That argument, I think, is really ridiculous in most cases, because of course if you cut a part of the body out, you're not visibly going to get cancer in that part. But we know, I think a lot of people watching, Timo and I, know that something like cancer is a complicated thing that is really an indication that the whole of the body's out of balance. And then, yes, it might settle in what will be detected in one particular area. But just because you remove one part of the body doesn't necessarily reduce the chances of getting cancer in general.
Yeah, and another thing is the chances of your dogs getting cancer from kibble or cheap manufactured food is far higher than having their internal organs intact. I'm very sorry, but this is just I don't agree with that statement. But I know it because in the university I heard the same. So I don't blame them from repeating what they heard, because when we leave the faculty, we think like, well, we are gods, we know everything. I'm definitely more intelligent than Catherine and every one of you, because I know more, So that's why I think that it needs time. They need also time and rethink what they're saying.
Yeah, exactly. So aspiring alchemists, we know we're preaching to the converted on here because we've always got such wonderful people in our chat. But what we're hoping to do is provide confidence to people in your decision making. So we know that there's reasons why the vets recommend it, and normally they're doing it with the best will in the world. I do think it's quite good to ask the vet, whether they've still got their balls if they're a man, or whether they've still got their uterus and ovaries if they're a woman, and if so, why? Just to put it in perspective, because politely questioning and having those discussions is also going to be really, really helpful. That probably isn't the politest way to say it. But
I did before.
You definitely have. Timo and I are definitely doing that. But Timo, one of the things which is really, really horrendous to me is I'm seeing loads of vets recommending, again, here at the moment, Lisa, we're not talking about rescue animals. We'll come on to that later. But a lot of vets also recommend, say, for cats and dogs, neutering them before their first season, don't they?
Yeah.
What are the complications of that, Timo?
So it has advantages and disadvantages. The disadvantages is for the rest of the life, but the advantages are for that very moment in recovery speed. So, and behavior. So vets think that everybody wants to have a calm animal and easy to live social animal. And when you nurture them before they reach their sexual character, then they are calmer. Of course, what they're also are empty in their feelings and thoughts, because you took away something, it's not there anymore, and they don't know what is not there. You can see it from their looks mostly. You take a dog that was nurtured and watch him for several years. You will see that they have a different look than the tomcat who has the balls in, and he's just a radar.
Yes.
It's like try to lock onto something. It's just huge difference in how they perceive their surroundings and how they perceive the life. It's like, look, everyone who watches here has a computer, a cell phone, a smartphone, internet. Just take half of it away for 1 week and tell me if you feel full or not. You will feel like naked. Something is missing, right? And you take away like 30 to 50% of their feelings just because you want to have a calmer animal. It's better than not having an animal. That said, we are going to Lisa. If you have, of course, saving animals from the street and there is no other way for them to live together, you can, of course, decide, do I let them die or do I keep them but nurture them? Then I'm okay for it.
Yeah.
Because it's a totally different, that's the difference between living and dying, and that's the best thing you can do. Also in countries like again, warm countries in Italy, Spain, Greece, the population is enormous, and
Turkey.
yeah, you try to keep them the numbers straight. And then, of course, it's important that they don't mate outside and just create thousands of more babies that the shelter has already trouble keeping up with. And that is okay. But we are talking about, you get your pet, you want to live together, especially if it's a dog, because for cats there are other problems. We will talk about it. And you just think that, yeah, let's take away the sexuality, which is like mind-boggling.
Yeah. So what I want to talk about now, before I move on to the difference between dogs and cats, because this is quite an important difference, can we just summarize, Timo, some of the main health risks of what happens when you neuter an animal?
Are you talking about the procedure afterwards?
No, afterwards. So the procedure, I think you've covered that really well in terms of physical operation. But afterwards, so in terms of development of obesity, arthritis, other sort of hormonal issues, etc.
Yes. So for male and female, this has total different implications.
Yeah.
So for the female, they have total different fat levels immediately, and they cannot use the fat as they used before. And females always have a bit more fat. So especially when they age, they get really, really heavy, or they have a lot of hormonal imbalances because of the fat. Males cannot produce as much muscle mass, and their muscle mass is not as strong, and their regeneration is low. And they might look happy. I'm not saying that they don't look happy. They don't know otherwise. But again, if they wouldn't take away that, is also if my child wouldn't know ever what a PlayStation is, he would be happy with the toy cars. But once the PlayStation is there is no going back. That's why the vets try to do it as early as possible. But but I want to touch on something else totally. Cats have different risks, and especially the ones that are constantly outside hunting, going to other places, seeing other cats. You might cause, of course, huge trouble if your tomcat is out and about every day, and you don't know what's happening with other cats. You have a lot of kittens popping out from everywhere. I can understand that. But if you have a house cat, of course, there is the problem with smelly pee, but the rest is actually fine. With the females, male dogs and cats, you can actually do something like the day after pill. Your vet just has to be willing to do it. And you can do it with an injection. You can do it with, if you can make them swallow, you can do it. So you just reset the clock.
So talk through, sorry, so you're saying that's for the males or for the females?
Males have no risk of getting pregnant.
So no, that's what I'm saying, because you said for the males. So
no, dogs and cats, for the female dogs and cats. Sorry if I miss
female. So female dogs and cats, you want to, you can, if you decide to not have them neutered, you can look at chemicals like the morning after pill, you're saying?
That's correct. So you can just reset. Look, we are resetting horses cows, sheep all the time, so they get pregnant all in the same time. We can reset it with every
Yeah.
animal. So it's not a problem. The only problem is the vet has to be willing
Yeah.
and to do it for you.
Yeah, Lisa, tin food. We're going to come on to the tin food anyway, because this is really important. And Andrew is saying that her tomcat would wander miles and miles and stay out all night. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
sounds like me when I was 19.
I was just going to say, just like teenagers. Yeah, exactly.
It's normal.
It is normal, but there are risks associated. So if you've got a dog, and you're a responsible dog owner, there's not really many reasons why you would want to have either your female or male spayed or neutered, are there? There's not sort of many justifications.
Not much. The only justification would be if you are living in a environment you cannot control, and the dog can always run somewhere when you are out and about and just rape other dogs, because that only is the way they are mating. Then you have a lot of pregnant dogs around. But that's about it. Otherwise, I don't see any other reason why to do it so early. Of course, some animals get, of course, cancer and other problems with their genitals. Then I understand. But otherwise, I see no reason.
And I think Greg's got a very good thing. This is why we're doing this series, because we all make decisions based on the best information we've got at the time. But in hindsight is a wonderful thing. And having had, all my animals are rescues, apart from one. And having had rescue animals and things, a lot of them do come from the rescue centres already done. And we'll come on to that from Gypsy Daisy in a minute. But when you know better, so for me, I've got two female 4-year-old dogs now, and I have not had them neutered, and I will not be having them neutered, touch wood, providing they don't have any problems. Now, they are rescue dogs. They came to me, they were too young to be neutered when they came to me. And the reason I'm not is because as a responsible dog owner, I will keep them safe during their seasons and keep them under control so that there's no risk of pregnancy. And what I found is when they had their first season, obviously they'd come from a rescue home who'd done their best they could, but they'd had a very poor start to life nutrition-wise. One of them did have a phantom pregnancy, which I easily managed to sort by using herbs and natural things, good diet to get her liver working properly and settle her hormones down, and some herbs to support that. And since then, they've been plain sailing through their season, and each one's got easier and easier. But yeah, I think, this is an issue. Obviously, for rescues, we've already said rescues are a completely different point of view. Often it's a matter of life and death. And therefore, it's much better they go to a loving home and are neutered than are put down. So we are, and generally what we're talking about here is if you've got a good, responsible pet owner for dogs. Now, let's talk about cats, because obviously dogs we can keep in, we can put them on the lead when they're in season, we can supervise them in a fenced garden. We all know our cats are a rule unto themselves. And so it's very difficult to control where a cat goes.
Yes, so if you have a cat and you love the cat loves you, and you have no other choice than nurturing, because if not, it will just pregnate the whole neighborhood, and I understand it. But for female cats who are not leaving home too much, that I don't see any reason. Again, you can just the day after, the morning after pill, that kind of resetting the clock, you can do many things. And I don't see any reason to do that. So Lisa is asking that she doesn't eat meat. Not I don't either, and Catherine either. We both don't. We have a course, and if you follow the course, you can see that what you can feed your cats with to lose weight. And you can use the calculator to calculate the caloric needs, and just go 10% lower. And from there, you will see that there is a loss. But do not reduce the quality of the food. Don't give very little, or just don't cut too many calories, because the cat will find a way to get those calories back. And that will not be a healthy way. So it can nibble on your cakes and try to get something from home that you don't want to give, or just runs out, because the cats cannot live with caloric deficit very long. So you can have very little caloric deficit that the cat gets used to, and then everything will be fine.
Yeah, and what you will find that when you look at the course, and you see there's a big difference between eating any processed food that comes out of a bag or a tin and the home prepared food that Timo and I are suggesting, because as soon as you've had to process enough, and this is all explained in the course, the cat course, we've got the course for the cats, the course for the dogs, and it is absolutely vital. We started with these two courses first, because if the nutrition's wrong, everything else falls out of balance, doesn't it, Timo?
Yeah. By the way, for awaken possibilities, I understand this pushy behavior from vets, because again, a vet feels like she's the authority. So this is how you leave the university, and it gets only worse over the years. So it's still your animal. You pay for it. You make it live. You give the shelter. It's your decision. And you can say this clearly to the vets. Of course, they have their duty to tell you what they think is right. It's nothing wrong, but being pushy is a bit of a problem for me.
And this is one of the reasons why we're doing these series, because we have to, as responsible animal owners or parents, whatever you want to call yourself, of whatever species you've got, we have to advocate for our pets. We are making decisions that are completely life-taking decisions. I don't think there's anyone watching this at the moment or going to be watching it that if I had to go in and have a hysterectomy, I would take that decision very seriously and look at the risk-benefit analysis of it. If Timo was about to have his balls cut off, he wouldn't take that decision lightly. So it's what we're saying is there will always be exceptional circumstances like the rescues, but you do need to really understand what you're dealing with and not just think, oh, that's an easy thing. It doesn't matter. They don't miss them, because the repercussions can come back to haunt you. And I see a lot of animals, elderly animals, suffer from early arthritis and joint issues, which obviously diet is a big part of that. There's many other factors, but early or neutering is a big part of that as well, because it's taken away a lot of their regeneration.
Also, bone density changes.
Yeah,
That's a huge thing.
Yeah, exactly. So in terms of alternatives and everything, there's lots of herbs that you can use to support your pet through seasons if they need it. Lots and lots of those. And I have on my website some really good herbal courses that you can have a look at. But if people have already had their pets neutered, so for example, I've got 5 rescue cats that already came to me neutered, and a couple of neutered male rescue guinea pigs as well. What can people do if they've got neutered animals to help support them for what they've had taken away? Not physically, but, chemically.
Oh, yeah. So, of course, the first thing is knowing what you're feeding them with. It's key, because increasing the inflammation or just removing their quality of regeneration is a big problem. For male, movement is very important. You have to keep them moving to keep the internal growth factors going. If not, the lack of testosterone and the lack of growth factor make them soft, couch potatoes that doesn't want to move much. And that's at a certain age causes arthritis, reduces the quality of their digestive tract, and they get all types of problems from it, just because they cannot move anymore, or they just don't feel like moving anymore. And a lot of cats get cancer from this, because they are producing a lot of oxidation in their body. They cannot control it anymore. They don't move, and they slowly die. So it's not a nice life.
Yeah. So we keep coming back to it, which is why we've done the cat and dog nutrition courses, because when you get that right, you prevent a lot of problems occurring. But also, it's never too late to change, is it, Timo, onto a healthy diet?
That is correct. Also, nurtured or not nurtured, the moment you make an improvement, it's an improvement. So even if it's one day.
Yeah, so please don't think, I've got a middle-aged animal, an older animal, it's too late to make a difference. It's absolutely not too late to make a difference. I rescue a lot of older animals. In fact, I absolutely adore looking after older animals, and because they're so special, and I think they really deserve that special care in their later life. And I have constantly blown away by the improvements that you can make by different choices, by educating yourself, by lifestyle choices, by exercise, by food, and knowing what you're doing. So don't ever think it's too late to make a difference to the quality and quality and length of your animal's life, because it's really not. And of course, the same goes to us. We can all slip into bad habits for ourselves, but it's never too late to make those changes, and it is fantastic. So in terms of, let's have a little chat about Pyometras. So one of the things I've had spoken to a lot by vets is if we don't spay our females, because dogs and cats don't go through the menopause, do they?
Not really the way the females do. Actually, dogs and cats in nature never live that long to have that problem.
Yeah.
So when the problem comes, they should be already grandmas. So, and they are not. So that's why it doesn't work really like that. But yes, so all types of different inflammation and infection of the genital organs can happen. And especially females who are open to external factors like bacteria, mushrooms, many things, dirt, especially dogs who don't really take care of, or getting licked by other dogs all the time who bring other stuff into the system. But it doesn't mean that it's going to happen, especially if you keep your dog's immune system healthy and strong. I don't think this is a huge problem. But if your dog is weak, of course, that can happen.
Yeah. And so what we encourage people to do, we had a good chat. I think it was last week, wasn't it, Timo, where we were covering vaccinations and parasite control and things like this. When you've got a pet of any species, it's really important you educate yourself on the early warning signs for any diseases and problems. And the better you know your pet's natural condition, their natural behavior, if anything's going amiss, you'll spot it early and can seek professional advice early.
Yeah, that's correct.
Really important. So if you notice any problems with your dogs, you can get them examined by a vet then, and then discuss the safest option. But just like Timo said about removing the breast, we don't want us to cut off every bit of the body just in case they might or might not develop a problem later on.
Totally agree.
Yeah, fantastic. So let's have a little chat, because we haven't started on our series for horses yet. Timo and I are both massive horse lovers. But let's talk about stallions as well, because in the UK, it's very, very unusual for people to have a stallion unless they're keeping them specifically for breeding purposes.
Yeah, or racers, of course. Flat racing, track racers are mostly, the males are all are still stallions, because the geldings will have no chance of winning. So it's just they're not strong enough. Well, of course, a stallion is a dangerous machine. It has its own will. It doesn't want to bow to you. It wants to do whatever it wants to do, and you have to fight against it. But that's the beauty of a horse. So it's just, it comes with the package. It's a part of it. It's okay. I'm not the right guy to talk. I mean, I buy a guitar, I change it, I customize everything I buy. But the only thing I don't customize is the pets or animals around me. So it doesn't make any sense to custom, because they are them. They have their own personality. They have their own identity. So stallions are, yes, dangerous, strong, but also beautiful. And I like it. I don't understand, if you would have let's say a Ferrari, would you just remove the engine and put something small in it so it still looks like a Ferrari, but it sounds like a Fiat 500? I'm not sure if you would like to do that. So it's, yeah.
And it's perfectly possible. I have seen from some of my friends who live in Spain or France that it's perfectly possible for stallions to live with other horses or next door to other horses, and very, very successfully and safely. So when you know what you're doing and you seek professional advice, they can have great turnout. You can ride them. You can do all the things you want to. So again, this thing that we automatically geld our horses is a question, and we'll look into that more when we start our horse series of talks, which we can't wait, can we? A really good question here by Aspiring Alchemist. What are the early warning signs for Pyometras?
Oh yeah, it's you can actually sometimes you can see it from outside already. It's getting red. Okay, so we will do a wellness course and we will do some special videos to maybe teach you how to touch and check your pets regularly without causing pain. And one of the typical problems is the belly is going to be sensitive, touch sensitive. And the dog and the cat will definitely, cats don't like it mostly anyway, but dogs will really like try to avoid it. And sometimes they would like the heat. They might come and just put their bellies directly on your leg or your arm to get a bit of relief of the pain. And sometimes you have no sign at all. It can really go from 0 to 100 very quickly, and then it can bleed. It can cause huge problems. It can stink. It will get red. Yeah, and your dog might rub it everywhere to get rid of the pain and everything. And it can show a lot of typical illness signs. And it can really get really bad. So it can get fever, then a loss of appetite, falling very weak. All that can happen.
Yeah. So basically, really important that if we notice there's something wrong with our pets, that we get them checked out as soon as possible, because the earlier you act on problems, the less chance it is of developing into something serious or an emergency situation. So, so one of the things that we wanted to talk about, I've had this question a lot, and some of my neighbours are asking this question at the moment. So people think that if your dog is neutered, that you're going to have an easier chance training it. But I really want to have a little bit of a discussion with you, Timo, about the fact that neutering is not a quick fix for being lazy with your dog training.
Also, not a fix for a stupid animal, if I'm able to just say that. So some dogs or cats are not stupid maybe, but not open for training. Some dogs and cats are going to be more open for training. You can have cats that act like dogs, bring you stuff and play with you. And sometimes you can have a stubborn old English bulldog, a Turkish shepherd, or an Akita that will not do anything from you except saving your life if you need it. So, yeah. So it's nurturing them. It's not going to change that. That's no, I don't agree. But that said, if you want to train animals that are highly active sexually and their nervous system is on 10 all the time, just keep them busy for a while, play with them rigorously, and then feed them just a bit with snacks, and then train them and rinse repeat. Because your time doesn't have to fit your animal's time, and you have to accept that. So it doesn't happen when you want. It's like children. The children learn when they are ready, not when you want it. So, by the way, for Gypsy Daisy, singing Beagle Ranch sounds really cool. Although I do a lot of music, I cannot agree on the singing part for beagles at least. But that's a cool name, yeah.
Singing Beagle Ranch is amazing. We want to hear more about that, Gypsy Daisy. It sounds amazing. So I think Timo's raised such an important point here. We're used to thinking that if we get an animal into our family, that they have to fit in with us. And it's really important that we respect that animal's needs and that we make an effort to fit in with them as well. And we discussed this a lot in our feeding courses, the cat and dog feeding courses, because it's some of the biggest mistakes that people make. But, this is why it's really, really important to do your research before you get an animal and make sure that you've got the lifestyle that can support their needs as well. Anything to add to that, Timo?
Yes. Important thing is that you are getting a companion, right? It's a companion. Most of the cats and dogs are companion animals. They are not there just for you to look at. You are interacting with them. So you have to let them be. themselves. If not, you can also get a robot. Then what's the point of having a pet? About the question for aspiring alchemists was, I think, about chlorella and spirulina. Yes, you can. Depends on the weight and if depends on the size of your animal. And keep the chlorella always lower than spirulina. It's a bit heavier on the intestinal tract. For cats, I would not suggest using chlorella at all. It's too strong in the fiber department. But spirulina has a polysaccharide cell wall that's more easier to digest.
Yeah, and
But they are both usable.
Yeah, and the quality, obviously, I mean, I know that you'll know this, but we're saying it for other people aspiring alchemists, is chlorella and spirulina is really, really important to make sure that they're sourced really well and the quality, because there's a lot of contaminated ones out there on the market.
Yeah, I want to warn you about something, by the way. Although it's super important to buy and use as much bio-organic as you can, over 70% of everything sold organic in the world comes from China. And China sells 11 times more organic than it produces. So you have to check your source. You have to be. You can also ask for a certification, a recent one. Yeah, that's a good sign, mostly, if certification is there or not.
Yeah, it's really, really important. So quality, quality, quality. So going back, just one more question that I've had messaged in that I've got from one of my neighbours. So they've got a 3-year-old male collie dog that was very, very well behaved, and now he's turning into a man. They're thinking of having him neutering because he's being a little bit less trainable. What would you say to that? Do you think that neutering would make any difference to his trainability?
It actually gave me a good, very good idea. I will nurture my sons because the 6-year-old starts to show some signs of being himself. You know, he wants to have a character for himself. I don't really like that. So let's remove the balls and make him to something what we want, right? It doesn't make any sense. It's like, of course he's going to be actually collies or other shepherd type dogs, they need these hormones to be themselves. That's what makes them them. So if you have a couch potato who's not going to care if a burglar or an animal comes and takes one of your sheep, what's the point of having it? That's against their existence, so to speak. Yeah, anyway. Yeah.
Absolutely. And they're very responsible owners and they're loving it. And I think this is the trouble, because a lot of people, because they've been told by several different behaviorists, oh, just neuter the dog and that will sort the problem out. But we have got to get to a stage in society. I think I really love the people who listen to my channel, because I'm not talking to the people on the chat here. We know this isn't for you guys, but as society as a large, we've got to get away from this quick fix mentality, thinking we can pop one pill and everything will go away. When you've got something like a collie, one of the beauties of having such an intelligent dog is that they're working dogs and they want to work. So as Timo said earlier, often doing their, making sure that you're using their mind as well as their body. And you've got a fan here as well, Lisa. Timo, you've got a fan.
Thank you very much, Lisa.
He's hysterical. He's absolutely hysterical, is Timo. But yeah, it is really, really important that we embrace their personalities and we don't like to suppress it. I don't think any of us would like our partners turning around and saying they were going to neuter us to calm us down a bit.
Although it's also working animals, or like, let's say, collies or similar breeds that are really this drive to do something. Often this is also misunderstood as sexual drive. They have a drive to do stuff. They're evolved into doing this. So sometimes when they become a man, they want to work. It's like, it's time to move. It's time to do something. Oh, sit. No, I want to go. No, sit. I want to go. It's like, try to make a husky sit all the time. It doesn't make any sense. That guy wants to run and pull something. And if you don't give it, why have it?
Absolutely. My two rescues, I've got no idea what breed they are. My two dogs, the sisters from Romania, they're just absolutely gorgeous. I have no idea what, they're a good old Heinz. But you've seen them, Timo. You've been out walking with me. They are so vibrant. They love their exercise, but they need a lot. And their personalities are very different. And Lola is very much a working dog, and she wants to use her mind as well as her body.
Yeah, that's correct.
It's wonderful, and I love that. I love it. She's well suited to me. So, and they make me, go out and give them really decent walks and exercise. It's what they need, and it does me the world of good as well. So, have we got any final questions from anyone in the chat? Last chance. If you've got any questions that you want to ask us, whilst we're waiting to see if they come up. No.
There was a remark about dentistry. No, we didn't make a video about it, and we have to do about it. But this is a bit of a tricky course. I would say we wouldn't make a long live about it. We would possibly make a proper course about it, because we have to show slides. We have to put important data, especially about the food side, the what's in the ready-made food, and what causes the tartars from the very beginning anyway, the pH of the saliva, and so this is a very long story, too long to cover in a 1 hour live show.
Yeah, so a lot of what we do, what Timo and I do, we love sharing information, but we don't want, to sort of underestimate that you need proper information. I love that. So Mindy said rabbits and Bob said where?
Yeah, so if you check, we have grass around here. We have grass here, and the cat behind me, if you really far-fetch it, it can also come closer to a hair. So
yeah. So rabbits, what about neutering rabbits? I'm assuming that's what you're asking. Is it a good idea? Yes, Minty's saying, is it a good idea to get a rabbit neutered to stop them spraying urine? No.
Why do you have them?
Yeah.
Why do you have rabbits?
And rabbits they're spraying the urine to make themselves feel secure, to mark their territory, etc. It's a completely natural behavior. I've seen Timo do it on a night out on many an occasion, haven't I, Timo? But it's really, really important that So what I would say, Mindy, it's a good question to ask is, and again, rescues are different. So I've got 2 rescue male guinea pigs that really needed a home, and I already had a female. And I did get them neutered, and quite frankly, I wouldn't do it again because one of them's had issues, and I did regret that decision. But they really needed a home, and it was a question of that or nothing. So it was a toss-up. But when you've got your rabbit in a really good environment, the spraying of the urine shouldn't worry you. It's only going to worry you if you've got it in too small an enclosure and they haven't got enough space to be able to mark it.
So, Alison, we would like to answer your question, but this is not the right place for it. Maybe you contact Catherine over her internet site, and we can talk about it, because this is also, we have to find out why and what. It's just not the direct answer, but we can do it.
Yeah. And so we did ask for questions, Alison, so thanks. So email me and we can arrange a consult, because we always need more information for something like that so we can see what the root cause of it rather than a quick fix. Otherwise, it's a bit like taking your car to the garage and saying there's a red warning light flashing and then removing the bulb, but not addressing why the warning light was flashing in the first place. And Mindy, yes, fantastic. That was her intention, not to get him. And he's free roam in the house. Well, all my friends that have had free roam rabbits in the house have all managed to litter tray them amazingly easily. So fingers crossed that will work for you. And it's wonderful that you have got him free roam. If it causes a problem, perhaps, you can set up a rabbit room. It's wonderful, though. I love the fact of how everyone's looking after their animals on this. It's wonderful, and we do appreciate all your questions. So we have got the discount code. It's on the bottom. Balls10 will get you 10% off all the courses on the CatherineEdwardsAcademy.com website. Anyone who now does a consult with me with a dog or a cat, I insist that if they aren't already on a really good diet, that they do the course first, because so many problems are the root cause comes from diet. And I don't want to spend an hour telling you about something you can do. We want to concentrate on the real issues. So next week, Timo, we are going to be talking about sugar and carbs in pets' diet, because it's a massive issue, isn't it, with anyone who's buying commercial food. And we're also going to be talking about how to transition your pets onto a good diet.
Yeah, I think that's also a very good segue from one big issue to the other diet part. The reason for that is good quality homemade food never has all the junk and all the carbs that doesn't belong to pet's food in it. So we will explain why carbs, what they do for different type of pets. And of course, carbs are needed for your rabbit. We don't talk about it. It's mostly cats and dogs. They don't need it at all. And then we will explain then how to make it so that those carbs that don't belong to the diet don't stay in the diet, and how we move on from there. By the way, Lisa, I cannot help you with them peeing on your bed. I cannot stop it. I don't know why they are doing it, but you have to try to find a solution. But look, there might be a solution.
It's stress. So I deal with a lot of cats peeing. Now, Lisa's is one issue because she's got foster cats, and obviously foster cats is going to be in a stressful environment because they come into you for a reason. And then we've got Vicky, whose daughter's cat. It's always stress related. So what we do is we look at reducing the stress. So there's lots of information in the cat nutrition course about where to feed your cats, making sure it's in a place where they feel secure, away from the litter trays. So we have a whole section on that in the cat nutrition course. And also there's lots of things you can do in terms of working with essential oils, working with natural remedies, in terms of setting up the environment so they feel safe and secure, etc. So if your cat is peeing on the things, it's stress related. So you need to, the foster ones are slightly different because we know why they're stressed. But in terms of your daughter's cat, you need to look at what's causing the stress. Is it pain related? Is it unwell? Is it the environment? And look into all that. So if she wants more advice on that, she could book a consult with me. And then finally, things like the collapsing trachea. That's just too, again, it's a bit like the other one, isn't it, Timo?
Yeah, that's correct. It's not the right place for this.
We would need Kelsha to come up with a lot more information. It would be irresponsible of us to give a quick answer for that. So again, if you want to contact me separately and arrange a consult with either Timo or I privately, we can look into that. I think for a collapsing trachea, that would need to be you, Timo, because that wouldn't be my area of expertise.
Yeah. I think we will talk about all these, maybe placement of food next week when we talk about the transition from hard food to, or ready-made food to home food. Lisa, we might cover actually where to place the food properly so they don't maybe even stop peeing because the food is around. That might be a possibility. So I don't know. We can discuss this. Yeah, but thanks everyone. It's actually, our hour is full. We have to go home, eat, and remove the balls from the kids.
Yes, don't frustrate everyone at home, guys. So thank you so much for your interaction, and everyone, pretty well, yeah, any animal in distress pees itself, yeah. So thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your interaction. Please do like, subscribe and share. It's really important that we get this information out, because these are the type of topics we're discussing can make such a difference to your animals' lives, and they're often the questions that people don't think to ask. So if you've got any animal loving friends, please do pass it on to them, because we all want to make all our animals have as long and healthy and vibrant life as possible.
Yeah, and Bob, if I'm not mistaken, you were from down under. Good luck, mate.
Yes.
It's a bit hard there right now. I wish you good luck, and greetings to Charlie.
Yeah, lovely, Charlie. Bob and I will be doing another video very soon, won't we, Bob? Because Bob has got some amazing advice on mental health for humans, but it's very applicable to our animals as well. So thank you so much. Please do like, subscribe and share. Please have a look at our courses because they're really reasonably priced so that we can help as many people as possible. Use the coupon codes. You must use a coupon code when you book. I cannot refund people afterwards. The system doesn't allow me to do that. And please do join us next week where we're going to be having a really good conversation about carbohydrates, sugars, and how to transition. Thank you, everyone. Bye, Timo.
Bye. Bye.